Hello everybody and welcome to Getting Wrecked. Today we're going to play Transport Fever and we're going to start a new free game, and this time around I'm aiming for supplying every single industry with goods, I guess. And we are going to play on a large map, 1x2 in Europe. It's going to be medium terrain type. We will start in the Wild West, well, in the Wild Europe, I guess, on hard, and the seed will be Getting Wrecked. So that's everything we need to set up, yes. So if you are new to this channel, you will know that we play on hard difficulty, and you might also know that I don't really like to use road vehicles in this game, which is kind of strange since Transport Fever, one might think that this is a game about every single type of transport, but I find it most interesting to use trains. So even if we start in 1850, I will try to use trains, even if the first trains are really bad in my opinion. Just like my loading times are really bad. But let's start by pausing the game. So now I have looked at this map before, and there are a couple of things I want to do with it. But let's start by looking at the achievements here. So last time we did Train Fever achievement, so we only used trains, and the time before that we did the Penny Pincher, so we didn't take any additional loans on hard difficulty. Now this time around I'm going to try out the Industrialist, serve all industries. Now, by the wording of this, I'm not sure if this means we only need to give every industry raw materials, or if it means that we need to make sure that every industry gets some kind of line, even if it's like a farm that is just producing goods. I'm not sure if we need to serve every industry, but I guess we will have to do that. So that's the main point of this campaign. I don't think I have that many left that I really want to try out. It could be interesting to have this speed of light reach the top speed of 300 kilometers an hour. Since we are playing in Europe, we can actually build a train that fast. Now, something I want to do that isn't really connected with Industrialist is that I want to have a major hub city. So if you look on this map, so it's pretty big, but it's also in a rectangular form. We have some water, so I have to decide. If you check, this is kind of in the middle of the map. I have two cities that I find as candidate on this map. We have Leatherhead, almost 300 population in the beginning, and we have Goldstone here, only 208. Now the reason why I would want to use Goldstone is that it is really close to the river, so I could use airplanes, boats and trains. If I use Leatherhead as the center, I can't have boats. The problem with having Goldstone is that it's really far down, like its height at mouse cursor is 100 meters. So that can be a problem if I have that as the hub. That every single train will need to go down to 100 meters. And if you look at the map, there are plenty of cities that are at like 200 meters. Now even if they go to Leatherhead, it's not that many cities that are in level. It's only these Tringshard, Buckingham, and I guess Watford. They are on the same level as well, so it's, if I want these guys, they could form a really strong synergy up here. Or if I want to go with Goldstone, so I can use boats, but I might have an issue having the city to grow, since I will be limited by the river as well. But one thing is sure, and that is that I will start in Goldstone, because, well, I can't pronounce the name, so maybe I should use Leatherhead instead. But one reason that I want to start in Goldstone is that we have a farm really close by, and we have oil in kind of a good place. So I've been scouting out here. So using Goldstone, we could bring down food, we could bring down oil, and then have a lane go by the river down here and make the food into, well, make the livestock into food. And we could go on close to the coast and get over here and refine the oil into fuel. So I think that is kind of a cool setup. And then if we have the line set up there, we could use that for passengers as well. So I really like to start with freight trains, which is maybe a bit counterintuitive, since usually when you start a map you will go like, oh, I will put down passenger trains, but I have a hard time getting them to be profitable in the beginning, because there are so few people living here. So if I make a line between Goldstone and St. Helens, maybe I will have enough people using it, maybe I won't. If I won't, I will maybe add a train or bus stop in Goldstone and add like a Clare to bring people to Goldstone so they can use a train to go to St. Helens. Because in the beginning we are only using the bank's money, so if I put down a train track here, that might cost me like 200, maybe 500,000, especially when I place the stations. So that's at least 500,000 in debt already. So that's something I will have to pay like 12,000 in interest each year. So, and I will have to pay 12,000 per station each year. So already only that setup will be 36,000 each year. And trains in the beginning, they are not very good at making money. So because of that, I'm thinking about using freight, because freight, at least I know the capacity of freight, because I can just click on a city and see, okay, this city will require 58 each year. I don't know how many people they will require each year, so that's why I prefer to use freight in the beginning. One thing to note, maybe I should stop talking and start building, but one thing to note with Europe at least is that they have a pretty good freight wagon for goods and livestock, because if you put down well, maybe I should show you instead, so I will show you later. But anyways, I will go for the oil here and it will go to St. Helens. The only problem with that is, sure, the leg where the vehicles will be driving empty will be pretty short, but it will be really slow because this is quite a hill, quite a climb. So if I have my station down here in the industrial district, they will have to climb up here, and that will take quite a long time. But after that I can have them go down to the river and follow the river all the way down here. Now the freight wagons are more expensive than the passenger ones, which is a problem, but because of the higher top speed. But we will be replacing the locomotive when we get a faster one anyways, so that should be fine. So let's stop talking and start building. So I'm not sure, do we want to start with the train station up here? I guess so. Now in this game you could place the smallest possible train station. It would be just as good as the biggest ones, but I want to try to play in a way that makes sense. Now since we actually have to climb this hill, one could argue for placing this as far down as possible. Maybe something like this. I think we should still have catchment. The only problem is that we will have to do a quick turn here, but that's okay, I think. Now the upkeep for train stations isn't increased by the platform length, but if you add more tracks, the cost per year will increase by 4,000. So I want to only use one train track in the beginning because we have such an issue with income. Now I'm almost tempted to use a terminal station here. I'm not sure how much goods we have down here that I want to bring to St. Helens. At the same time, yeah, I don't really want to clear buildings because that's 100 grand I will never get back. I could try to use this climb back here, maybe that will be faster than going straight up. Something like this. I sure hope we can connect this. We can. Let's try to connect. Maybe I should connect to that one first. It's decent. It actually covers all industry buildings but this one, so if we look at the city we can see that this will be about 47 each year. And that's connected like this. What? That wasn't actually too bad. 214 for this. I'm actually not sure if I would be able to do this cheaper. If I make small chunks, like usually when you make small chunks, the game will, you will be able to make it pretty cheap. But I'm actually kind of curious if I can make it cheaper than 219. I guess I should be able to do it since it makes some really strange thing over there. Let's try to see if I place a middle section here. Nope, that's definitely more expensive. Screw you. 219. Fine. Then we have this road we need to cross. Now we need to go down this hill. That's also something that might cost quite a lot of money. But let's... I think we're in a decent spot here. Now this will just go downhill, because I would most likely make another section that goes through here to go to the city, so it doesn't have to go up and then down and up and down again. So I'm kind of fine with this being as steep as possible. Now we kind of need to make shorter chunks here, since we want this to turn around, turn the corner here. Oh, that was pretty cheap. Sold! So now we are almost down by the river. There's a song in my head that I think about all the time when I say down by the river. But that's not really something I'm going to sing right now. So we have a section here we could go instead of getting over the hill. So let's aim for that. These trains will be so slow, so I could make this train track like this and they can still go at maximum speed, which is pretty interesting. It's not the tactic I will use right now, but let's cut through a little bit here, I think. Now sometimes you go like this and you think, oh, that was quite expensive, let's make it cheaper like this. But sometimes when you do it like that and then you go on the other side, I guess this hill is not that bad, but sometimes you will end up having to make really expensive section later on. So sometimes I find it like, if it's not incredibly expensive, I will just go with the flow. So the benefit of making this really long, expensive train track in the beginning, should we put down the tracks first? No. This is semi-expensive. Now the benefit of me putting this long track down is that the tracks doesn't have an upkeep, but when you build it for the bank's money, you will have to pay interests, of course. So why do I have to make such a large bank? But the fact is that this line I will be able to use going forward for passengers and all that good stuff, and for getting to this farm or food processing plant. Now if you would play this and try to be efficient, I would say don't even bother with the first trains. Just go for trucks and buses in the beginning. They will not make you money either, really, but at least they are so cheap, and then you can replace them with faster ones. Now this will be a pretty expensive section. A lot of bank required. Like I said, I don't mind slowing the track down a bit, because our trains are not, that was a misclick, but our trains are not that fast yet anyway, so it should be fine. So, and the good thing with having a long line like this is that sure, you get paid, you don't really get paid more for delivering this far, in the sense that sure, you get paid more, but the income you get for delivering longer distances, it's kind of linear, so you don't get more and more money. This was a pricey section. Make it this way, it's even more pricey though. Let's go down to 70 here. But yeah, so the thing is, the cities have really low, what should we call it, requirements in the beginning, since they will only accept about 50 fuel each year. If I have a really long section, I can have plenty of trains on this track without them oversaturating the city. So I can use the same city and the same station for more trains, and the trains are the things that actually makes money for me. So the track doesn't pay me anything, but if I'm able to have plenty of trains on the track, they will pay me quite a lot. Getting close here. Now we are also getting close to the end of this episode. Do I want to follow that line, or should I just make a bank? It's 10 grand difference. Alright, it's time to actually put down the end station here. So again, I will go with this really large one, since I'm trying to make this future-proof. Just delete some of the road there. I think this is in range. And again, I will not put down additional tracks since they cost upkeep. 14. Can we make that cheaper? A little bit cheaper. Connect. 50k. I mean, there is some shenanigans here. 100k. No, thank you. 40. I think this was kind of the same as if I just made it directly. Oh well. So, now the problem is I can't use multiple trains without me double tracking, or at least making meeting points on this track. We also need to make sure that they can go to this station without going over the hill as well, so too much slope. 47 is okay, I guess, because we really need to minimize the time they are not running at maximum speed, these guys, because they are pretty weak sauce. So having them climb hills is not the way to make money. So that's the problem with this setup, I would say, is the fact that this section is really short, but it will take well, maybe not 4 times, but at least double the time to climb than this section to go downhill. It will be less of a problem with faster trains, but so let's put down a signal here and tell this guy to be one way for the time being. So, half the loan has been used up. That's awesome. Like I said, you wouldn't do this like this if you want to make money. If you want to make money, don't even start at 1850 because you will be sorry. So let's put down a depot, and I know people want me to put a depot behind the station or something like that, but I'm not going to do that. So the question is, do I want to double track this right off the bat or not? Now, I think we go for double tracking. So let's check how much that costs us. So we have 6.4 million. If I made meeting points, I would have such a hard time to know where to put them. So that's mostly the reason why I'm doing double tracks. And future-proofing, of course. Now double tracks usually have a hard time getting over roads, but we seem to be in luck today. Triple luck. Okay. Double tracking is usually pretty inexpensive. You usually only pay for the track itself, not so much landscaping involved. I might have a hard time to get past the food processing plant here. Sheep, because here we have to start digging. So maybe this is a section where I should not go double tracked. But too late now. 72, so when I'm upgrading this section or these trains, I really need to do something about this section, since they are not passing by very quickly. But the trains in Europe are really slow in the beginning. Well, they are slow in the kind of the first 100 years, so that's also something to bear in mind, that the freight trains for Europe are a bit slower than in America. So that was under 1 million. So I think it's actually pretty worth it to double track this. Now put down some signals on each side and you should be good to go. I'm not sure. I think having this distance, and I want to have one train making a delivery each year, I'm thinking that I will need to have like at least 4 trains on this track. I will maybe not be able to afford 4 trains, but okay, let's at least have 3. And make sure that we connect this section. Yeah, so about 1 million to double track, but that was a lot of double tracking. I know that I'm spending a lot of time on this first route, but the first 1-2 train routes is what will make or break your game. So I was talking about the goods wagon being really good for Europe, and that is because the lifespan of 50 years. And since I want to, well, let's start from beginning. When I play on hard difficulty, you have to run your trains full both ways, and I will actually need to have connection here as well. Right, so you will need to run the trains full both directions, otherwise you will lose money until you have trains that makes about 100 kilometers an hour. So, and the first trains are not doing that much. So that's the reason why I'm looking for oil, because oil I can transport in oil tankers, and then I can bring the fuel back into the city with the same train. So I need to find fuel, or I need to find livestock for the goods. So I can bring livestock in one way and then food back the other way. You could use stake cars for forest one way and then get planks back to a factory and make tools. That's one way of doing it. But as you can see, the goods wagons cost the same as a stake car, but the lifespan is 10 years longer, and it's even longer than the tank wagons. So tank wagons are actually pretty bad in Europe. Sure, you can fit 20% more in them, but the lifespan is really short. And you will have to pay extra because of this capacity, while lifespan doesn't affect the price or the upkeep running cost in any way. Like, it only benefits you because the running cost will be lower going forward. But anyways, enough rambling, let's get a train. So I will go to D1 and the third and get some tank wagons. Now this guy is not strong, but we have a really flat line, so I'm thinking we should go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we should have 7 wagons. It might be a little bit too much for this guy, but he will have to bite the dust, or whatever it's called. So it uses the correct side, it uses the correct way over here as well. So this is going to be Helen's, I guess, oil and fuel. And I usually go with red for those. Yeah, and make it red. So we are good to go. Let's pay back the loan and get this thing on the road half a minute or half an hour later. So here it comes. Quite a lot of smoke. And some bumpy level crossings there. Hopefully this line will wake up. Yeah, it seems to be fine. Sometimes it has a hard time to activate. Sometimes you need to send a train going back and forth one time before they start producing, but it seems to be fine. But it will produce quite slowly. But I don't have much of a use case for me to send this thing along right now. I think we are fine waiting for fully loaded. If you look at the frequency here, we can see 47 minutes, and 1 year in this game is 20 minutes, well, 12 minutes. So this means we need 4 trains of this type in order to get the frequency below 1 year. And the reason why I want it to be below 1 year is that it makes it much easier to calculate. For example, the city requires 47 fuel each year. If I have a frequency over 12 minutes or 12 minutes, I will have a hard time calculating, and also the game gets a bit confused. It doesn't know if it's going to increase or decrease the production. So there are a couple of things like that that makes stuff a little bit strange. Also, not talking, but maybe there are new people looking at this. Also, one thing with the crude oil is that when we get down here, this refinery will start to produce the refined oil and not the fuel. Even if the demand is for fuel, I don't have any demand for oil, it will still produce like 25-30 oil before it switches to fuel. So that's why I'm trying to at least wait until it has more than 30 before sending it off. Also now I'm just waiting for the next year, so before I buy a new train, so like that. So now we can send it on its merry way. Go, go, go! And then tell it to fully load again. And then I will borrow enough money for the next train. Well, it did cost like 1 million, so... And set this on the same route. And repay the loan. And this is the setup I will go with. Like I said, a slow start, but hopefully this line will make us enough money to make a really nice Imperium here. I'm not really sure. I will also release the next what should you call it, episode of this playthrough. I will release that quite soon anyways, because you didn't get to see a lot of stuff being built, and I will try to build one thing each episode. So I'm trying to make one new line each episode, so most likely in the next episode we will be upgrading this line, and we will also try to add more lines to the same railway, since we can't really afford any other train tracks just yet. So most likely it will be this farm that I will add to this line, or this train track, going back to the food processing plant and then delivering food to Galston. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this episode, and hopefully I will see you again next time. Goodbye.